feel bad for Lance that he came to a team where they didn't let him play? The most famous player in franchise history is not a fan, says they shouldn't have drafted him, shouldn't give him the team. A big part of the locker room isn't super thrilled that they're moving on from the previous quarterback. It seems kind of rough for a 22-year-old kid to get drafted. I mean, he got drafted here. He didn't want to come here. He didn't sign here.
I feel bad for him, but then I also think he's lucky. He's the 3rd overall pick, and he's not expected to be a franchise quarterback and turn around a group of, a totally incompetent franchise from year one and all that. Like, look at what Trevor Lawrence has to do. He has to turn around the Jacksonville Jaguars. Matthew Stafford, who we're talking about, he got drafted by the 0-16 Detroit Lions. Joe Burrow got drafted by a pathetic Cincinnati franchise. He gets drafted.
Got drafted by a pathetic Tampa Bay franchise, and that could have been Trey Lance. You could have been the early Steve Young. So you just fast forward to middle-aged Steve Young.
And like in his case, right? Are all of these things unlucky? Absolutely. Like, I don't think it's fair the amount of pressure he has on him. The fact that Joe Montana is saying this public, like, I mean, in his mind, he was confident. He told Rob Guerrero, "I'm confident that I'm going to be the starter week 1." That's the plan. So, do I think that part of it's fair? No, but I also think it's, unfair that he gets Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Trent Williams with that defense, and Trevor Lawrence gets Urban Meyer, who's busy partying in Ohio at his restaurant instead of flying home with the team after a Thursday night game because, well, he's Urban Meyer.
Okay, yeah. So I'm with you on that. I mean, it does seem like it's tough to be like every single quarterback that comes to the Niners has to deal with this. Like, is he the next Steve? Is he good enough to be in the lineage of Steve Young and Joe Montana? If there's an impossibly high bar, Niner fans get really impatient and they'll write you off quick. And you have Joe Montana himself saying stuff like, "Yeah, this guy's really not. He's, I don't know, feels." What is it like? It's like being drafted by the Lakers. It's a play. I mean, be the first pick by the Lakers. It's really okay. Now, go be Shaq.
It's like being the first pick. It's like you're the center. You're a center being drafted. Like, it's like Joel Embiid being the first overall pick by the Lakers. A guy that was highly touted like that.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be in that. You're supposed to be as great as the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And anything less is like, well, maybe you could do that on Arizona, but not around here, bud. And that's been the Jimmy Garoppolo problem, right? Like, you're a decent starting quarterback. Sorry, not good enough around here. Sorry. People want Hall of Famers. And they feel that they're entitled, deserve them. Yeah. Sorry, it's the Niners.
And that's where I think it's easier for a veteran to be able to come in and take that pressure, especially because, at the end of the day, no matter how much Jimmy Garoppolo did to get them to the NFC Championship, Trey Lance is taking over a team that went to the NFC Championship. And the casual fan, no matter what happens next year, right? Like, Trey Lance could play terrific. He could have 25 touchdowns, 5 picks, 10 rushing touchdowns, 35 touchdown, 8 turnover season. Mm-hmm. And sadly, again, knock on wood, this doesn't happen. But
maybe they don't block a punt.
Right.
Maybe they don't block a punt and return, they lose.
Or knock on wood, this doesn't happen. A couple key marquee players get hurt for the 49ers. They go 8-9. Them
maybe
going
Debo
8-9 has nothing to do with Lance's play. But people will look at it and say, NFC Championship with Garoppolo, 8-9 with Lance. And, is that fair? Absolutely not. It's actually wrong. It's not true.
Wentz went through that in Philly, right? Did Wentz not go through that in Philly? He did.
Pretty much, yeah. More or less, yeah.
But the difference was that
he took them to 11-2 or 11-1 before he got hurt. Yeah,
that's a good point. So why does he suck now? I don't know. I don't have to talk about that. What happened to that dude?
Oh yeah, he's awful. He's awful. And it's funny because I actually thought, wow, he was so physically gifted when I watched the game live versus the Niners week 4. Like, the throw he made to Fulgham was an unreal throw in that week 4 game. But then I went back and watched this season because I had to watch him in case the Niners are going to get him. And I was like, wow, this guy's bad. He's just so erratic. He has no feel in the pocket. He's inaccurate. He's really wild.
He's always been that way, right? He must have lost a lot of confidence and athleticism after that injury. I'm thinking.
Yeah. But I think he was erratic pre-injury too.
That's what I'm saying.
That you might get the good, but like that time that there wasn't as much bad. He plays a volatile style of quarterback.